What determines the financial literacy of Filipinos? The flow of this presentation is starting with the introduction, the conceptual frameworks, methodology, results, discussion, and recommendation. So according to the Financial Inclusion Survey conducted by BSP in 2019, only 1 in 3 Filipino adults can answer financial literacy questions about inflation, simple interest, and compound interest correctly. 45% of the respondents has no knowledge of what inflation is, and 67% has no knowledge of the calculation for interest rates. Many have explained financial literacy differently, but it mainly means valuing money and maximizing the use of money, as stated by Kadoya and Khan. They define financial literacy as the ability to understand the implications of interest, inflation, risk, and diversification. The objectives of my study is to measure the financial literacy level according to Kadoya and Khan's definition of financial literacy, and to determine the determinants, to examine the determinants such as demographic, socioeconomic, and psychological variables that can affect financial literacy. So the emphasis of this study is on the psychological factors such as future orientation, financial satisfaction, and anxiety. So the theoretical foundation is social learning theory, which was developed by Albert Bandura, who suggests that people learn by observing and copying the behavior of others. Social learning theory has been used to study financial behavior, and this has shown that people learn financial skills, knowledge, and attributes in society from their parents, family, peers, schools, and social media, which significantly affect their financial literacy level. So there are 3 channels of financial socialization: family, school, and work. Now looking at the conceptual framework, the study aims to test if there is really a relationship between the independent variables and the dependent variables. So the dependent variable is financial literacy, and the independent variables are the demographic, socioeconomic, and psychological factors. For the methodology, an online survey was conducted targeting Filipinos residing in the NCR. The sample size is 385 based on Slovin's formula at confidence level of 95%. However, due to the time constraints, I was only able to gather 85 respondents. And these respondents were reached through convenient sampling. So the online survey questionnaire was adopted from Kadoya and Khan's study. Both authors used the microdata from the Preference Parameters study of Osaka University's 21st Century Center of Excellence program and its global COE project. So I recreated the survey questions used by Kadoya and Khan in their study. So we take a look at the descriptive statistics and the causal relationship of the independent variables to the dependent variable. So data collected was stored in Google and was analyzed in an open source statistical software. The descriptives were summarized, and this included the computations of central tendency and dispersion. The F-statistic and linear regression model was then used to examine the determinants of financial literacy. Of course, in conducting the online survey, ethical considerations were also included, like data confidentiality, informed consent, voluntary nature, and respect for others. So the results showed that the 85 respondents completed the survey and their average financial literacy score is 72. Now, this indicates that most respondents can answer 3 to 4 of the financial literacy questions. Um, most of them are most of them are age 41. The youngest was 18 and the oldest was 64. There were more women compared to men. Looking at the educational level of the respondents and their families, majority has also reached or graduated college level. And majority were employed with an annual household income of 1 to 4 million and an estimated household asset of 3 to 6 million. So looking at the sentiments of the respondents, given the 5-point scale, they were moderately positive about the future and moderately satisfied with their current financial situations. However, they were also moderately anxious about life when they reach retirement age. After running the regression model, um, I found that age has a negative relationship with financial literacy, while education and occupation both have a positive relationship with financial literacy. Um, the rest of the variables, the results were all inconclusive. This is also perhaps due to the small number of respondents. So the results of the regression model, um, it follows the pattern of the survey results as it was observed that respondents who are in their 60s have lower scores in financial literacy. It was also observed that when educational level is high, it is more likely that financial literacy is high. The same with occupation. Majority of those who are employed in finance and the insurance sector are more financially literate. The social learning process also explains that people actually learn by modeling or forming better behavior based on their environment. The environment of study and work reinforces positive behavior when people around them espouse that positivity as well. So what can we do to help increase the financial literacy of others? Financial literacy has 3 dimensions. There's financial knowledge, financial attitude, and financial behavior. Most of the time, um, groups or individuals connected to finance would launch financial literacy programs to teach concepts and improve skills. This addresses the first dimension of financial literacy. However, there must be ways on how to enhance financial attitude and augment financial behavior to increase financial literacy levels. It is possible to utilize the psychological factors to imbibe a more positive attitude towards finance, which will help persons create better financial behaviors. Programs can be designed in such a way that relationships will be formed through socialization, engagements, and bonding. When the environment and people are positive and supportive, it makes learning a more positive experience no matter how difficult the subject matter may be. Usually, demographic and socioeconomic factors are used to determine financial literacy. However, um, there should also be other intangible measures to be used. to determine financial literacy. Further research is recommended to explore the psychological and behavioral characteristics of financial wellness. And in this study as well, in the survey, those who are in education, which is 27% of the respondents, scored 0.57%. So they may have answered the two basic questions on compounding interest and inflation correctly, but the last two on risk and bond pricing incorrectly. So educators also has an important role in contributing to the increase in financial literacy levels in the country. Further research should also be done to know how to help them be more financial literate so they can also pass on this knowledge to their students. This ends my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.